This is how you turn Knott's Berry Farm's Xcelerator from a good coaster to one of the world's best and a more reliable coaster. And if Six Flags and Cedar Fair does not do this, then hear why I think our days of riding Xcelerator are numbered. My name is Brandon and welcome to Theme Park Predictions. I'm really glad you're here. And Xcelerator is a coaster that many of us have been lucky enough to get on at least once or twice. I know for me, I only have one ride on it, but I really enjoyed it. But the future around Xcelerator always seems to be up in the air as far as, will Knott's Berry Farm remove it? Will they replace the launch? Like, what is going on with this awesome and intimate Xcelerator coaster? Mind you, the first one ever built. I'll go back to Xcelerator in 30 seconds, but first, I'm very excited to announce that Theme Park Predictions now offers memberships. YouTube is really pushing creators to offer this, and there are a lot of additional benefits that you would get by becoming a member. Things like loyalty badges, behind the scenes videos, member only live streams, and personal shoutouts. Just go to youtube.com/theme park predictions/join to check out the membership offerings. And you can also find a link for it in the description of this video. Opening in 2002, Xcelerator really dominated Knott's skyline because it was the tallest coaster in the history of the park at 205 feet. The trains would launch at speeds of 82 miles an hour, and one thing that I've always appreciated with the Xcelerator's layout is it features more than just a top hat. You have two overbank turns that really does add to the whole entire ride experience. But the truth is, this coaster suffers from so much downtime, it's ridiculous considering that this is Knott's Berry Farm, one of the most popular theme parks in the entire world, and it's always usually busy. So you have to have rides that are reliable and offer decent capacity, and whether Xcelerator is running or not, usually when it's running with one train. Kind of ironic now that Six Flags and Cedar Fair are merging together, so hopefully they can iron out the issues with Xcelerator and run two trains on a normal basis since Xcelerator just reopened. Now, here's what I think Six Flags should do regarding Xcelerator, because obviously the Intamin Hydraulic Launch, it's no longer around as far as Intamin's not making these rides anymore, so this launch is unreliable, it's costly to maintain. I definitely think Knott's Berry Farm knows that they have a decision to make, whether to replace the hydraulic launch with LSMs or to remove the ride altogether, and more on that in a minute. As much as I would love for Xcelerator to keep the hydraulic launch, I just don't think it's going to be a long-term solution for the future of this coaster. And the way that Xcelerator dominates this section of Knott's Berry Farm, I really feel like Cedar Fair and Six Flags need to come together and do whatever they can to keep this ride around for decades to come. Which brings me to this. I know that I said in past videos that there's no room for Xcelerator to feature a spike of any kind. And when you look at the aerial images of Xcelerator, you really can tell there's really no room for a spike. However, what if I told you there is? Now here's a great concept for Xcelerator that not only features a twisted spike, but also a much longer layout, really making Xcelerator, dare I say, the best coaster in California and potentially a top 10 coaster overall. A huge shout out goes to M-NL2-Contriver for allowing me to use their No Limits creation for this concept, because I gotta say, this one right here is the best one I've ever seen for Xcelerator, and you're about to learn everything you want to know about this insane looking ride. And the good news is, I pulled the measurements and the extensions of Xcelerator's current layout would fit in this area without removing Supreme Scream or any other attraction. So that's the great news. Now, let's take a look at this. And the first change you're going to see is where the station currently is. Basically, the station's going to get pushed back a little bit, much like they did with Top Thrill 2, and then the train's going to enter the switch track that's going to bring you onto the main launch track, which would be in the same location as the ride's current launch. But this time, obviously it's LSMs, and unlike Top Thrill 2, this one will feature a bunny hill. Now I know you're really excited about that because I am too. As the train launches you forward, you're going to get a rollback, and then you're going to go through the reverse launch, bringing you up to the twisted spike. Now, I do not have an exact height of this spike, but I gotta say it's around 180 feet if I had to guess. And the train looks like it's going to go pretty close to the top, which would bring you great views of the park around you as you're traveling up and down the twisted spike. So as you can see, this is how exactly Knott's Berry Farm can fit in the spike if they wanted to go this route. And I think we can all agree right now that they definitely should put this on the table. As the train exits the spike, it's going to enter obviously the launch one more time, bringing it to the max speed of around 82 miles an hour. Then the train's going to go over the top hat and into the existing part of the ride's layout, the 2 overbank turns. So you're not going to see any changes there. But this is where the ride gets really interesting, and I really think you're going to love the grand finale of this coaster. Not only will Knott's Berry Farm add the spike, but they would also add over 1,000 feet of track after the 2 overbank turns, filled with airtime, inversions, and some other great wicked transitions. Some of the highlights here for me would have to be this little airtime hill as you see right here, and then the twisted looking outward banked hill that's going to give you great views of Supreme Scream as well as the road that travels next to the park. Then the train's going to enter a barrel roll that goes right above the queue line. This element, I absolutely love this placement and the interaction that the guests are going to get while waiting in line for the new Xcelerator, and seeing the train fly right above you and twisting right above you. That's such a cool element. Followed by, right before the final brake run, you have a mini stall element, which any stall element is great, and I really like how this transitions into the stall here and then goes right into the brake run. So overall, this creation really adds in so much more value for a coaster standpoint for the park guests as well as for Knott's Berry Farm, because obviously they have to do something with the Xcelerator. Now the big question is, would this be Zamperla or Intamin? And before the Six Flags Cedar Fair potential merger, I would have said Zamperla, unfortunately. However, now that we know that Six Flags and Intamin have a good relationship, and Six Flags and Cedar Fair are now the same company, or will be in a few months, we really cannot rule out Intamin after all. And I would really love to see what Intamin can do with their original Xcelerator coaster, because if they can come up with half of what you see here on the new layout for Xcelerator, it's really going to be the best coaster at Knott's Berry Farm and really improve the ride experience. So I'm hopeful. I personally do not think we will see an extended layout as long as the one you see here. I'm hopeful again. I just don't think the money, the return on investment really makes sense to do it this big. However, when you add in the vertical twisted spike and maybe an inversion or an airtime hill at the end of the ride, that would be enough for me to really want to get back out to Knott's Berry Farm to ride Xcelerator. I know it's a great ride now, but like, this thing looks legit cool. If Knott's Berry Farm can do something even half this again, they're on to something. Now here is why I feel as if the future of Xcelerator is up in the air. Obviously there's so much downtime that comes with this coaster. Maybe it's Cedar Fair's maintenance team at Knott's Berry Farm not doing a great job with it. Maybe it's the ride itself. Maybe it's Intamin. Maybe it's a mix of all three. And I tend to lean that way. I don't think it's one party. I think it's multiple parties as to why Xcelerator has had so many issues. But from what we can tell with Top Thrill 2, Zamperla seems to know what they're doing with it. And I'm excited to see more of these conversions in the future, whether it's Intamin or Zamperla. But I really do feel as if, again, sadly, Xcelerator is going to feature more downtime, and eventually in the next year or two, Cedar Fair will pull the plug on it and hopefully add in the spike and some more elements. But those are my thoughts on the matter. What are yours? What do you think about the future of Xcelerator? What do you think about this coaster concept? And now that we know Six Flags and Cedar Fair are merging together, you're going to want to watch this video where I rank the top 10 coasters and all the parks that Six Flags and Cedar Fair operate and own. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please give the video a like, and I hope that you consider becoming the newest Theme Park Prediction subscriber. With that said, remember to smile today, think positive, and of course, keep riding coasters.